What's the key to improving your IELTS reading score? Well, it lies in identifying your weaknesses and addressing them. Let me show you how. It's Asia. Let's get started. First of all, we need reliable practice tests that have the same level of difficulty as the real IELTS test. Basically, you need official Cambridge practice tests. Any recent book, let's say from 14 and up, will do. Right now, I want you to do a full reading practice test without a timer. Take as much time as you need. Why no timer? Well, because the time pressure adds quite a lot of complexity to the test. And it's useful to know how many questions you can answer without this external pressure. Write down your answers on a sheet of paper and check them. How many questions could you answer correctly? That's the table that shows the equivalent band scores. In IELTS general training, texts are easier, so you need to answer more questions to get the same score. For example, for Band 7, you need 30 answers in academic and 34 in general training. For Band 8, 35 and 38 respectively. The first step to improving your performance is understanding your mistakes. Check each incorrect answer one by one. Go back to the test, find the correct answer, and try to understand why this answer is correct and not yours. There may be a few reasons. One of them is as simple as overthinking. Yes, you do need to analyze the text and carefully check that the meaning in the question is the same as in the passage. However, virtually all correct answers are paraphrased. And paraphrasing never produces 100% match. The meaning should be close enough. Don't dig deeper and deeper. Once you found the answer, go for it. You may notice that you find certain types of tasks particularly challenging. For example, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given questions are among the toughest. And finding not given answer may be particularly tricky because, well, it's not given. Remember that questions of this type come in order. Read the first statement, start reading the passage until you find the answer, then read the second statement, and so on. For not given questions, you should still locate the part discussing the same topic as in the statement. If you find it, but your answer is not there, and then the topic changes, then the answer is not given. If you can't find anything at all, you've probably missed the relevant part of the text. Basically, if you find certain types of questions difficult, learning relevant strategies can help you improve. Find out how these questions are built, how to look for answers. I have videos about all the toughest types of questions. If you've learned a certain technique but it's not helping, try another technique. We all are different, and what works for a lot of people may not work for you. Keep an open mind. If you struggle with certain types of questions, find more questions of this type and practice. You may notice that you spend a lot of time looking for information. In this case, it may help to learn which questions come in order and which don't. Most IELTS reading questions come in order, which means that you can read the question, start reading the passage until you find the answer, read the next question, and so on, just as I described previously. But for example, matching heading questions don't come in order, but you can still read one paragraph, match it to the statement, to the heading, read the next paragraph, and so on. In this case, you know exactly what you're looking for at any moment of time. Otherwise, the length of passages may be simply overwhelming. I'll link a more detailed video about questions that come in order and that don't below. Another technique that can help you locate your answers is highlighting keywords. Highlight the most important words in your questions They will help you concentrate on what you're looking for. Highlight names, dates, and locations in the passage in case you need them later. If you can't find several answers straight away, this is okay. Usually I finish 3 passages with 2-3 questions unanswered because I either didn't find answers straight away or I couldn't understand what the answer was. Just leave them and finish other questions and then come back to those at the end if you still have time left. Another reason why you may not be able to answer a certain question is if you simply don't know the words which determine the answer. This may happen, and this is a direct reflection of your English skills. IELTS reading actually requires the widest vocabulary of all IELTS sections. But sometimes the most complex words don't really matter. Try to analyze the sentence structure. Think about what kind of answer you're looking for, and then try to understand how different parts of the sentence are related. For example, your question may be about whether a new scientific theory was accepted by other researchers. And you may read a sentence like, his research into something you don't understand was immediately put under question by his colleagues. Is our statement true or false? Well, it's false. To put under question means not to accept. And if you don't really understand what the research was about, it doesn't matter. Another sign that you're lacking vocabulary is if you make more mistakes in section 3. This is the hardest part of the test. And if the size of vocabulary is the problem, the solution lies in learning more words. In this case, doing more and more practice tests won't bring the results because the strategy is not your problem. You need to concentrate on learning new words. Once you've analyzed your performance without time pressure, do another test in timed conditions. And write down how much time you spent on each section. So, what happened to your performance? It's normal if you answer fewer questions with a time limit in place. The question is, how many? If your performance deteriorated a lot, this is something to work on. There are 2 main areas to address. The first is your time management. How much time did you spend on the first section? Second, third? Remember that in each test, the first section is the easiest and the third is the hardest. If you spend 20 minutes on the first, you're compromising your performance on the third. Try to finish the first section in not more than 15 minutes, second in 20, and then you have 25 minutes for the most difficult questions. If your target is band 8 or higher, you should be able to finish the first section in less than 15 minutes and finish all 3 in about 50 minutes to have 10 minutes to look for answers to questions you couldn't answer straight away. Knowing which questions come in order and which don't, and having a strategy for each type of question can help you find your answers more quickly. The second biggest problem in IELTS reading after the size of vocabulary is the reading speed. There is a lot to read. And when we're learning a foreign language, we usually read trying to understand each word, and it becomes a habit. This is called intensive reading. It is very slow. This is when you read each word one by one, and when you don't understand something, you go back and read it again. This is not good for IELTS reading. In IELTS reading, you should use extensive reading to locate your answers. This is when you read faster without perhaps understanding everything, just getting the general idea. When you feel your answer is somewhere there, you slow down, switch to intensive reading, analyze the text, determine the answer, and then resume your extensive reading. How can you learn to read extensively? There are a few exercises. When you read each word, you pay a lot of attention to prepositions, articles, and other non-important words. We can actually see several words at a time, so try to read phrases. Another sign of intensive reading is if you pronounce each word in your head, or maybe even move your lips. Do you do that? You may be reading like this all the time and it slows you down. We can read faster than we can speak, so try to turn off the voice in your head. Conversely, when you need to concentrate on the meaning and pay maximum attention, move your lips reading each word. You'll also read faster if you stop rereading bits you couldn't understand straight away. Maybe they don't even matter and you're just wasting your time. Read looking for the answer to a particular question. And don't reread anything unless you think your answer is there. And the ultimate solution to reading faster is reading more. You know, the first time I started reading the Financial Times, I felt brain fried pretty soon. It was too much, but I persevered, and several months later I noticed that I can read it with no obvious problem. I got used to this level of complexity. You can find articles similar to IELTS Reading if you go to BBC Science. It's free. Read your news in English, get your next book in English, and don't forget to learn new words along the way. Fundamentally, IELTS is an English language exam. If you work on the skills you're lacking, you will improve. And you will get to the level when you pass your test. Sometimes it just takes a bit more time than you might have expected. Be patient and you definitely get there. And this is the video about questions that come in order, which I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam.